Good evening and welcome to the Standards of Geekness podcast page. I'm one half of your host, Easy E, aka Evan Jones.
And I am the far less talented, the ugly half, the half that you're not here to see, Brian Mercer.
You got to give yourself a little more credit than that, bud.
Hey man, if I degrade, if I do all the self degradation, it means that you are forced to give me compliments. And build
Fair.
me
You're
back up.
you're doing the opposite of a full Dan. You're going full Brian. So how you been, bud?
Been doing good. Been doing good, man. Had a wonderful weekend. I want to make a shout out tonight to one of our podcast members, Nova. She had her first basketball team win uh, last night, winning 48-10.
Wow,
Yeah, dude,
that's,
it was a monster win. So
that's belt to ass.
congratulations, Nova.
Belt to ass. Whooped them like they owed them money. But yeah, well that's great. Congrats Nova on and team on the finish there. That's a hell of a start to the season. Yeah, things have been going pretty good over here. Can't really complain. It's been interesting. The D&D campaign, we've been having a lot of fun with that. I myself have been working on some few things in the background. I know you are too.
Hmm.
It's been, I think we got some exciting and big changes on the horizon. Um,
Let's talk about D&D, man. You brought it up. Last week's last week's campaign was a very different event for us because, like, we've had a couple of fights before, but this was the first like really big team
this
fight
was
that we got
this was
into.
a big boss battle where all the team was there, where all the team could die.
Hmm.
And there was a lot of creative ways to go about things. Just kind of, I honestly like, I rewatched the live gameplay and the fact that we were able to all have such a wide variety of tactics that kind of all worked and gelled together was really impressive. It's probably the most impressive from that side of things that I've ever been involved with a campaign where it just kind of naturally flowed.
One of the things that I thought was so
Steve.
cool, Steve. One of the things I thought was so cool about that fight in particular was the fact that because it was like this aquatic esque fight,
Hmm.
it made the movement all really strange and like really having to work in the headspace because the way that we play. And think about the up and the down, left and the right, back and forth, and
The
like work the
poison in the water too. The
oh
poison in
yeah,
the water.
that was
Honestly,
there was so much
I
going
was.
on.
I feel like I was the only one who didn't get affected by the poison in the water. Like everybody else at some point got hit by that in some way,
Mhm.
and like I couldn't believe it. Normally I'm not that lucky. Um,
The one I felt the worst for was poor Uvel CJ getting smacked around like
dude, he got smacked around so much it was like a Japanese tentacle porn.
there. I think it's one of those high risk, high reward kind of
Hmm.
scenarios because we both know what he was going for. If you haven't watched the game, I highly encourage you to go back. There was this really incredible series of plays that CJ, Uvel, uh, tried to do, where he turned himself invisible. He tried to sneak up on the creature.
Went aquatic. He
He
became
turned
aquatic.
himself aquatic so he could breathe in the water. He made himself invisible. He tried to swim up on the thing from behind, tried to shrink it, and then he wanted to like suck it into our bag of holding, which like just the idea of putting those steps all together, very, very, very cool idea. And if it would have worked out, it would have
Ended the
definitely
bite.
been a game winner. Unfortunately, it did not work out, and um, and
He
that
died.
led to uh, and that
That's pretty
and
accurate.
that led to tentacles, lots and lots of tentacles.
Oh, I wish we had that emoji right here live and I could just send it to CJ. I'm gonna have to send him some other funny stuff. But yeah, overall, like it was just really impressive. The combination of like tactics from that end. You taking the initiative with your Ion Stone to like basically tell the creature, "Hey, fuck you, come get me." That way, it would target you. Then it didn't target you.
Um, I hmm. So yeah, I was a little frustrated that it didn't come after me because that was very like if you go back and you watch, you can definitely tell like I'm just poking the bear the whole time. Like that's the energy I was definitely throwing out there is come and get me. And then what was kind of funny is there's a moment at the very end where I actually hit a nat 20. Um, it took 3 hits to do, or 3 rolls to do, but I got the nat 20 eventually. And did a shit ton of damage to it. And I know, I think there was a moment for Nate, because I know Nate does want to come after us in those fights. And I think
Yeah.
there was a moment there he wished he'd come after me.
Well, you did a shit ton of damage. I think over the period of the turns, I did a shit ton of damage. Me giving everybody an extra 40 HP pretty much, bought everybody enough time to like not
I'm
die.
I more make the comment because it didn't come after me.
Mhm.
It went after you. It went after Flay. It went after all the other players at one point or another, and because I maybe it was because I was the one goading it.
Well, yeah.
It
Mean,
never took a swipe at me.
it was telepathically connected to you, so it knew what you're trying. So it made sense that it wouldn't try that. That it would try to get others to turn on you. But yeah, no, it didn't come after me directly. Although, like when it did, I did a shit ton of damage to it.
I think you okay. So like we were talking, you mentioned the tactics before the game.
Mhm.
Um, And I think one of the big tactics that needs to be just like was you granted everybody temporary hit points, seeing how much it smacked around uh, both CJ and then Flay, who was
Mhm.
very low on HP by the time we got out of there.
Mhm.
Had you not, and there is a point where she actually says that's the last of my um, extra hit points.
Mhm.
And there's another point where she had said that doubles my hit points. So it's really clear that would have knocked her out.
Yeah.
That would have been 2 players down. And
I
being
don't.
that she was the one who dealt the final blow, had she been knocked out, like who's to say how that could have cascaded down? So well done.
Exactly. Yeah. All right. Well, yeah, we're having tons of fun with the D&D campaign. We've probably got some new things up on the horizon. We'll get more into that in the near future. But tonight's a wrestling night. We kind of
Brass.
wanted wrestling. We want to talk about wrestling. Big meaty men wrestling. Yeah. So the Royal Rumble fallout. I've watched the Royal Rumble a couple times just because I didn't want the live viewing to color my. I didn't watch it live. I watched it kind of like the next day. Just because
But
I'm not
still,
gonna
the
watch.
first time you watch it,
Yeah, like I
if
was getting the updates
you
and
haven't gotten the spoilers and stuff.
and clips. It was just like what the fuck. I don't know, and maybe this speaks to part of our topic tonight. It's the failures of the Triple H era. Um, Everything being booked and built as the next big thing or a whole new era, or there's going to be tons of surprises, and then just when everything is the modicum of mediocrity that it is, it really undersells things in my opinion. I think it damages the product's brand. It damages Triple H's credibility. Not everything can be a whole new generation, brother. Not everything can be groundbreaking new eras.
Well, here's the thing, and this is really funny to me, because I think it's the thing that gets lost so quickly um, by WWE, executives and stuff. The eras aren't created by you. The eras are created by what the fans remember,
Mhm.
and you know, and where that really is evident is we could have an entire discussion. The rest of this entire podcast could be taken up by me asking you the question: when did the Attitude Era begin?
Well, there's some people that would argue it's the Royal Rumble or not Royal Rumble, King of the Ring with Austin 316 promo. Some people would argue that it was Nash flipping off Taker at WrestleMania 12, I think, right before.
Some would argue that it was the ship jumping.
Some would argue it's Pillman and Austin, the whole gun thing. Like,
some would argue that it was the Montreal screw job or the promo the next night.
Brat screwed rat.
The point is that we could literally sit here and we could argue any one of these points to be correct.
They're all valid, in my opinion, at some point.
Yeah, absolutely. But the thing is because you actually look at those events span almost 2 years of like real time. So when we're talking about when did the Attitude Era begin, well, it sometime in the mid 90s.
Yeah, 96 to 98, really?
Right. It's not like you can come up and so like when you have these moments where, and McMahon did it too. Now we're in the ruthless aggression era. Now we're in the PG era. Now we're in the.
No, it used to annoy me no fucking end. Like, and it annoys me now. And there hasn't been a single defining moment of this era since the Bloodline story, besides maybe Drew versus Punk.
Right.
Like, if you really look at the entire since Vince left to now, Triple H inherited a red hot Bloodline angle. He inherited mega babyface Cody that the fans all loved that wasn't getting booed, and he inherited John Cena and AJ Styles retirement runs. And what the fuck happened? Not only he shit the bed like he lived at 1600 Pennsylvania Ave.
I'm not going to put it all on Triple H. Okay.
No, but like the creative process and the whole WWE Unreal thing really pisses me off too.
Everything that happened with The Rock and with Travis Scott, I don't put any of that on Triple H. Like that's like higher up, like legitimately, there are higher ups than Triple H calling down shit and telling him what to do. And I don't think that that's what he wanted. I don't think that's what he wanted.
I don't disagree with you. I just think that as a person who's supposed to be the creative officer, the person in charge of creative, knowing as we've done it, you have a backup plan. You always build a backup plan.
No, 100%.
It speaks, but it also speaks to a much larger issue, in my opinion. It's outside of Roman Reigns, CM Punk, Cody, and to a lesser extent Drew. What megastars, what big stars have they built?
I wouldn't say that they built Drew. I say
that's why I said to a lesser extent.
I don't think that they've built any megastars at this point. I don't think that the goal should be to build megastars. I think that's a very flawed view at building a roster. So let people become megastars. Don't try and build them. Stop. The biggest, if I had one piece of advice for Triple H or for Tony Khan or for any wrestling promoter, okay, this is it. All right, figure out how to let it be organic. If it's not organic, if it's not something that the fans are behind, that the fans are feeling, okay, the fans are going to ultimately dictate what's going to work. And that's not to say that you can't put in your screw jobs and your angles and your twists, whatever. Yeah. All of that can still be used, but there should be a level of understanding of what the fans want and like leaning into that. And that's part of what's not happening now. We got Statistics Steve here. He has this comment right here. Look at this. Look who he's talking about.
He gained old man LA.
Yeah.
Perfect
And
example of somebody that's so over, yet they refuse to actually do anything meaningful with him.
LA Knight should have won the Royal Rumble. If it wasn't going to be Daniel Bryan, if you're not going to put Daniel Bryan, oh my god, sorry, you can see how it all like flows together and feels this way. The Daniel Bryan thing felt a lot in the same way that the LA Knight push feels. Like people get behind
Start,
him.
stop, get behind him. Start, stop.
Um,
It's like they're trying to cool him a little bit, though.
if you're not going to do Sami Zayn, was the name I meant to say, then LA Knight would have been a great one. The thing is like I'm not saying you can't put Roman in the main event, but uh, the winning of the Royal Rumble and the winning of the Elimination Chamber, I like these two being both gateways into the two main events of WrestleMania. Like I
Yeah,
like,
no, that makes
okay,
sense.
but when you're looking at the ways they get in, the Royal Rumble has the mystique of it could be anybody. When you're in the Elimination Chamber, it's much more of a grueling contest match, and the strongest man survives. So, if your whole goal is to make Roman the
The
biggest bad
elimination chambers should have been
boy
the
in the
choice.
yard, exactly,
Yeah, no,
and
I
that
agree.
he can also get eliminated. Like Obafemi got eliminated from the Royal Rumble. Do you think less of Obafemi? No. Brock Lesnar got eliminated from the Royal Rumble. Do you think less of Brock Lesnar? No.
I do, but
Gunther
for
got
other
eliminated.
reasons.
Gunther got eliminated from the Royal Rumble. Do you think? But not because he got eliminated from the Royal Rumble.
Yeah. No, I don't disagree with you. As somebody who picked Roman to win that match, I did it strictly because of how predictable they are. I agree with you. I think the Royal Rumble is more of a star-making moment when you think about past Royal Rumble winners, especially like Austin on his rise
And,
up.
and I understand Triple H being gun shy about that because I think to an extent that's what Jey Uso was that we're going to give you a surprise. Someone you didn't expect to win the Royal Rumble wins the Royal Rumble. Except if you were going to do that, then you really shouldn't have had him lose to Gunther a week before.
Well, they had him lose to Gunther a week before. He had lost every single match to Gunther before that. Like he hadn't really won a singles match in almost a month and a half at that point. And like and then it they squandered that opportunity because there was a giant positive reaction. There also was a bigger negative reaction. But there was a large positive reaction to Jey winning, the sheer shock of it, and like positioning him versus Gunther. And then they just blew their load at Mania and had Gunther tap out like a little bitch to him at Mania. Which, like, if you're gonna make Gunther Singh the career killer, you can't have had him tap out in the same manner to somebody that's actively on the roster.
I
Quite like
disagree.
that.
No, I
It should have
disagree.
been done. It should have been done differently.
Now,
Jay's not a
I no,
submission
I
guy.
think I actually think what would be kind of cool is if they made a story out of it. So like if Gunther taps out to that move, and then he goes, no other move has like no other move in wrestling hurts this much. There's nothing else that could have taken me out, and now I'm adding it to my arsenal, and then you give it a reason to be devastated. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying, like, if you're gonna do that, you can vocally give it a reason to take it up a notch.
Yes, but they failed to do that.
Yes.
Now, don't get me wrong. I do like Troll Gunther. I loved him coming out to AJ Styles music. That was hilarious.
All right, let's talk about this. This Steve bringing up a point. It was cool seeing LA Knight win the Elimination Chamber qualifier last night on Smack or yesterday on Raw. Excuse me. I just they hope they
he
get
meant
it.
just hope they give LA something before his age shows. I mean, that's valid. The problem is like if the average age of the WWE current male roster, you add up everybody's age as an average, I think it's like 38 or 39 is the average. So like they're not spring chickens.
That's
You
true.
know, a good portion of the top end, LA Knight, CM Punk. I think Roman's over 40 now. Like they're all up there. We just saw AJ Styles retire at 46. Cena retired at what, 47, 48? And like, you know, I think honestly
I
Jericho
think
might be the
okay.
last
I think there is a
rookie
bit. I
to
think there is a bit of a difference though, because we've also seen wrestlers go way longer in
Yeah.
their careers. I think Cena. Okay, just break down these two. Cena um, is a guy who has made his money. He's been the top. Now he's making movies. Legitimately, I think him saying officially he's retired is more for the fans, just to be like, hey,
Yeah.
I came back. I gave it a year to give you all a year. I'm going to make my money now. Like, you
Yeah.
see how much Dwayne is
No,
making, and
that's
then
fair.
and then for AJ again, AJ, yeah, he retired now, but he's also actually been saying like he was going to retire this year for the last since like 2020.
Yeah.
Like, it has
He said it
not
was his
been a
last
secret
contract.
that this was his last contract, that he wasn't going to sign again. Like, we all knew. Anyone
Hmm.
who's been actually paying attention has known for a long time. Now you can down on Triple H for not making a bigger deal about that on his way out. I can see that. I
That's
also
my part of my complaint with that. I also think that like Royal Rumble to Royal Rumble career in WWE, I think that's a perfect circle and it brings things full circle. I do think there could have been more fanfare to it. I do think you could have really done more with him when it came to TNA and help building TNA up.
I think what actually would have been a better, like maybe this is all in hindsight, right? But what I think would have actually been better, and keep in mind, in hindsight, we can get rid of the Rock Travis Scott thing, make it
Hmm.
never happen. But if you started the year with Cena coming out on SmackDown, Keith,
Hmm.
and saying, I'm out here. This is gonna be my last year. I'm so happy to be out here on SmackDown. SmackDown was my home. It's the show that made me, and I'm so excited to be here for my retirement. Da, da, da. AJ comes out. I'm retiring.
Make it like a
I'm
how dare
retiring.
you want to.
They're giving you all the fanfare. They're giving you all the praise and everything. This should be my spot. This is the house that AJ built. And you don't actually let him have the match until December, until the very end.
Yeah, and just
You just have
build it
them
as a
clashing.
hmm like as a background feud almost,
Hmm.
kind of just hovering in the darkness. No, I could see that. I think it just speaks volumes from a creative standpoint, and we've seen their creative process on WWE Unreal to a degree with what is edited together. I don't think they know what the fuck they're doing. If that's the true way things go down,
So,
fire Road Dog. He don't know
yo,
what the fuck he's doing. Fire
I,
Michael P.S. Hayes. He don't know what the fuck he's doing.
there's a lot of people who don't know this, and we didn't really, tonight. Tonight's a really loose format show for Evan and I. We decided we kind of come out here and just have fun, um, and so uh, bringing up some random stuff. A lot of people don't know how we ran HKW. A lot of people don't know how we did things in HKW. I'm going to shed a little light on this. Um, it started off with just me. In the very beginning, it was just me. But within what would you say, a
Year and a half.
year and a half, we had a creative team that was me, Evan, and CJ Willett. And then over time, there were a couple of other individuals that joined and left the creative team. That included Jeremy King Chaos, Rob Roman, Daniel Roberts,
Dragon Queen.
Dragon Queen, um,
Outlaw.
Outlaw. So we had lots of input at various times, but a big part of that was every every Saturday we would all get together, and God, those meetings would last like 3 to 4 hours, where we would talk through every storyline that was going on, and we would map out potential roads for the next month. We knew what was going to happen this week. We knew everything that was going to happen that week. And then we had open-ended ways that things could go for the next month. We would have things that we were planning towards, specific moments and specific beats that we were planning towards, but we always were willing to forego those for the sake of organic story growth. And the biggest one in that regard, I think, is Digital Revolution 4. We had done the story with Evan, where we had an invading company come in and win our world championship, and we wanted to do a really good, company versus company war. And I've always believed that you can't have you got to have the bad guys win in the beginning, you got to have the good guys win in the end. That's how the good storytelling goes. If the bad guys aren't winning in the beginning, then what's the point of having the good guys show up? So we really had them take it to us for a couple of months. And when we got to Digital Revolution, which was our WrestleMania, and Evan's in the main event, I think it was about a week before the show, I went to Evan and I said, "Hey, I think you should lose. We were planning on you winning. I think you should lose. Like, I think we should keep this going for another several months." And we all agreed, for the sake of organic storytelling, that was what was right. Now, if I could go back and change it because of the things that happened afterwards, I would. But for the sake of organic storytelling, that's just a really good example of Evan being willing to give up winning our biggest match of the year for the sake of organic storytelling.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. There was a lot more going on. I do think you had to convince me a little bit, just because you contacted me on a lunch break, and I was just like, huh? But yeah, no, I definitely remember that, and I think everything worked out in the long run. I wish it would have been somebody else. I'm not gonna name their name because I'm not giving them oxygen. But yeah, I think that's lost, and specifically that's why I was talking about WWE and Real. I don't think they understand organic storytelling anymore. I think they're looking for the next viral moment. They're looking for I don't think they expected Kit Wilson's entrance and his song to pop virally on TikTok and online. So he started appearing more on TV. And props to him for having a gimmick that works.
Honest to God, Kit Wilson is the entire reason that they should have never gotten rid of something like the European Championship or TV Championship. You should have the problem on WWE right now, because and in AEW too, you're like, oh, there's too many championships. No, it's not that there's too many championships. It's there's too many championships that have the same leveling.
Mm-hmm.
And when you have two championships and you're calling them even, so the United States and the Intercontinental, the World and the WWE, this tag team and this tag team, no. Champion means you're the fucking best. Okay?
I have ideas about how would we, instead of bringing back the European, I would have him bring back the Divas Championship. Go on a full chicken shit heel toxic masculinity run, and have him and Cardona feud over that for months. Have Chelsea Green get involved. She's a huge proponent of Divas.
If I felt like WWE was willing to do more of the intergender wrestling, I would be all about it.
I think it'd be great.
No, I do too.
They're not willing to.
There's certain women that you I would love to. Think about it, in the terms of he can win it chicken shit heel for months, and then have someone like a Jade Cargill or a Rhea Ripley all of a sudden show up and go, "I'm taking it," and then that takes the chicken shit up a notch.
Mm-hmm.
In the same way that it was able to be done with Dominic.
Yeah. I just think that they lack the creative vision right now to really execute something like that. And I think how much of WWE and Real is actually real, I'm not sure. But like, it really pissed me off in particular when Michael PSAs made those comments about Chelsea.
I was actually just thinking, like, you want to talk
I've been
about the Chelsea
about this for
Greens?
weeks and I've been sitting on it. Excuse me, guys. Dude, you were the freebird that didn't do shit. Like, fuck you. Do fucking better. Like you. What the fuck have you done? Seriously, what the fuck have you done? You're not adding anything of substance. They'd be better off hiring Jim Cornette and bringing him back in at this point instead of having you around. Like, what the fuck, man? Do fucking better.
Okay, so I'm not gonna cut down as harsh as Evan because I think that if you've been in the business for as long as he has, there's definitely something to impart. And I think, okay, this is gonna sound harsh, so stick with me. I understand what he's saying.
I do too.
I understand what he's saying. The thing is there's always like this little caveat that's supposed to go after that. Like there are guys who work in promotions that I work in, and I know they're not main event guys right now. They're not ready for that level of exposure and that level of scrutiny that goes with that.
Yeah.
But the idea that they could never, if your idea is they can never be to that level, then why the fuck are you bringing them on? Like everybody should have the potential to get to that level. I expect you to try.
Mm-hmm. And that's what angered me the most about it. It's like you're not even giving her a chance, and like I don't blame her for being hurt by that. Seeing like you're basically saying I'm just here to put people over, which maybe that is your role. If there's anyone on the women's roster that's actually deserving of an opportunity to try to get to that level, it is Chelsea. Absolutely. She has earned her stripes in the Indies. She earned her stripes in intergender matches, TNA. Like you can't just diminish somebody's whole career in those 5 minutes. And that missing caveat speaks volumes about Michael P.S. Hayes. Like volumes, in my opinion.
There are very few people that the first time I saw them work in the Indies, I went, "You have it."
Mm-hmm. And she does.
She does. And she did the very first time. I remember you and I were together the first time that I saw her live.
Mm-hmm.
You and I were together, and she came out in that kind of like half get up, and dude, she made a statement at All In and made you remember her at the biggest indie show of all time.
Mm-hmm.
That says something. At the end of it, you weren't talking about Tessa Blanchard. But who won? If you go back, it was Tessa that won, but we don't talk about her. We don't remember her from it.
Jordan Grace and Chelsea Green were who you remember from the match, and Madison Rain was the fourth member, if I remember correctly. But it was Chelsea and Jordan made that match.
Oh yeah.
Jordan appearing in that Rumble earlier on in the evening. It was a later, I don't remember which. Where seeing her square up with Bully Ray, and that was great too.
That was great.
And I just think that everybody should be given the opportunity to try, especially when it comes to professional wrestling. You got to let somebody actually try to get over, and when they're getting over, which she has gotten over with the fans, you can't just keep feeding her to the wolves. Like Charlotte, Becky, they don't need to be built up. They've solidified their legend status. They did that years ago with Ronda Rousey in the main event of WrestleMania. Tiffany Stratton has solidified herself as a main eventer. Rhea Ripley has. Liv Morgan has. Jade Cargill, the jury's still a little out on that just because they haven't really done a whole lot with her. Bianca, they've solidified her.
Oh my gosh, Bianca, yeah.
You got to start bringing up the next generation and the next wave behind them. Otherwise, I don't know how many times I can watch Chelsea Green versus Zelina Vega. I really don't.
So,
and I love
the
both
women's division. With the women's division, this is what I would do with the women's division. Honest to God, I think what you've done in the men's division, honestly, you should have done it with the women's in some ways. So you got a couple of groups, but the one I'm really thinking about right now is the Vision.
Ugh, that's
Just
a whole
hold
other
on.
thing.
Just hold on for a second. Let me finish my thought. And you keep having this like gimmick with like the run-ins with the masked guy. Look, real talk. You have enough women now that have names. Now is the time to set up a 4-woman stable and have them attack. A 5-woman stable and have them attack. Have them run roughshod. Have them destroy everyone. Don't let anyone know who they are. They can be a mixture of NXT call-ups and current lower level women on the card. Basically, you do what I've been doing with the Untouchables on the Indies.
Mm-hmm.
You can use this in a Shield Nexus type way that automatically makes them dangerous. And because you're not telling people who they are initially, it adds a level of mystery to it. So now, as you unveil each one individually, their name means something.
Mm-hmm.
They've already got credibility as something dangerous, someone dangerous, and they have built-in feuds across the roster with anybody they've attacked. This is how to integrate women into your roster with meaning.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. I'd actually take it a step further, in my opinion. I think the women need their own show at this point. You've got all these different avenues, all these different, you've got AJ Lee, who has experience running a women's promotion with Women of Wrestling. You have all these avenues: Peacock, ESPN, Hulu, wherever else you're streaming at this point, because it's a whole fucking hot mess. You can't give the women their own weekly 2-hour show. You could.
I go back and forth. I go back and forth on this because what I fear is, that because it's a women's only show, that it would not be given the same credibility, that a misogynistic viewer base would attack it online, and
fuck them pussies.
Hey, I'm just being realistic.
I know.
WWE as a publicly traded company in TKO would instantly pull it for fear of bad press, and that women's wrestling would ultimately take a step backwards. That's what I'm afraid of.
I don't disagree that that's probably the reality. I feel like you're limiting its potential by not taking chances. Like giving them their own PLE once every 3 years, whoopity fucking do. Like, you basically WrestleMania weekend, there's like 10 women on the show.
The thing is I think you need to none of the storylines that are going on with women in WWE across the board have the gravitas of, say, a bloodline story. And this is nothing new. This is nothing that's ever been the case. There's never in the history of WWE been a storyline between any of the women that has had like longevity and depth and like just like a real need to see the next chapter. Okay.
The closest they came was when Becky Lynch broke her nose with the man.
When that's the case, when you have that, that's when you can have a women's only show. Because until the day when there's something good enough where you have to tune in for at least this one thing every week, because it's that damn good, the thing that brings people back, who used to be fans, to watch again.
I don't disagree with you. Like, you got some valid points there. I just think that fundamentally there's a lot more they could be doing. I think that's what it boils down to.
I think you and I 100% agree on that point.
Yeah. And then you spoke about the Vision. I called this a failure months ago. I believe your words were, give it a chance. And then we both agreed it was a failure because they just didn't even have a fucking name, and they just weren't doing anything. It was kind of. Then they did the Seth injury angle, which some people liked, some people didn't. I've just never been a big fan of the Vision. I just think it's a dumb fucking name. B, with Seth not being involved, it doesn't make fucking sense. Now, Seth's been out injured. Now Braun Breaker's had to have a hernia, like not just a laparoscopy, but like a deep hernia surgery. He's going to be out for months. It's time to either scrap it, rename it. Something's got to give here, because you've got a Masked Man angle still going on, and he's attacking the Vision members.
If you're gonna real talk, you got a Masked Man that's attacking Vision members,
mm-hmm.
and then you got this other guy that needs to be out for a while because of the injury. Why didn't you have the fucking masked guy attack Braun Breaker and put him out of commission? All of a sudden, the Masked Man is a lot more dangerous now, isn't he?
Yeah, well, I think the injury pivot happened because he pulled a muscle on Monday Night Raw, the Monday Night Raw after. That's when they had to pivot.
It doesn't look. You can. There are a lot of guys. There's a lot of ways. Trust me on this. There's a lot of ways that I can attack you without you being attacked. I mean, think about it. If they were all walking out, right? Vision's music hits. They're all walking out, right? Paul comes walking out. Austin's there. Logan's there. Bronson Reed is there. Everybody except Braun Breaker walks out, right?
Pulled off the last minute.
They get halfway down the ramp, and Paul's like, "Where's Braun?" And then up at the top of the ramp, you just see the Masked Man holding a chair, and he runs backstage. The whole Vision goes running backstage, and there's Braun laid out right there. You didn't actually have to have him do anything physical. He just got taken out by the Masked Man.
Yeah, the problem is so the injury that they had to write him off for happened after the attack at the Royal Rumble, the week after.
So what?
But I'm saying your logic there is have him do it then.
No, my logic is to have him do. No, my logic is to have him do it the next Raw.
But they didn't know he was injured because the injury happened on that Raw. Like when he flipped the table, he pulled a hernia muscle inside himself. So there was no way they could have done that.
No, you're missing what I'm saying. Okay, he flips the table. He has the hernia. Okay, great. You don't need to publicly tell everybody that he's out at that point. You don't need to tell everybody that he's out of action completely. He just, he's hurt right in that moment. You don't even have to tell him. You don't have to tell anybody literally anything. And then a week later, the Masked Man takes him out. And since we're very clearly not going to tell anybody who the Masked Man is because we want it to be Seth Rollins, but we don't know if he's going to be back in time for Mania.
Which we all know that the person that's currently doing the attacking is not Seth Rollins.
Right.
Because the height difference is there.
Right.
And then what I found interesting was the way they tried to move him like Moxley.
Because it's all smoke cameras or smoke and mirrors bullshit anyway. So I'm just saying there's no reason that you couldn't have added Braun's injury.
So I think waiting a week, if you're going to go that route, he gets injured, I would probably have them film something the next day or like while in travel, have it happen then.
Fine.
That way, you do it that way. It's just, I don't think they expected it. I think they were planning on running with Adam Pearce.
Fine, have him backstage. There's a billion ways you can do this. The point is that if the Masked Man took out Braun Breaker in story, then it makes the Masked Man look more dangerous.
I definitely agree. I thought it was really interesting to have Heyman come out with him at Mania. With Lesnar at Mania. And I kind of wonder if maybe they're going to pivot to letting Lesnar have a crew again.
I'm I'm so over Brock Lesnar. I just want him to retire.
Uh,
Go live on your ranch.
I want him this year at Mania to put Oba Femi over. And then I want him to retire in Minneapolis SummerSlam next year to Gunther.
I know
that's what I want from it.
I know that's what you want. How about he retires to Gunther first?
But we got to build Oba. That way Oba can eventually face Gunther. I don't know. I'm not super keen on the idea of Oba destroying a tag team. I just want that known, especially a former World Tag Team Champion. I feel like you could have gotten
every time that's done. I hate it. Like
I would rather just
let's sacrifice the whole career of two guys, to get a little guy, a guy a little push. Like in the same way, I used to just hate Ryback matches. You know how when Ryback first started off, for 4 months, it was all right. Let's feed him another jobber you've never heard of. Hey, all right. So now these 3 kids that each weigh 100 pounds are going to face Ryback.
I would have rather seen that than the fucking thing they did with the War Raiders. Like, there's local talents or NXT talents you could have used to feed to Oba that gotten them some screen time on the main roster.
I'm not saying no. Maybe you're misunderstanding. I'm not saying there's not times to use local talent for to help put other people over and stuff. I definitely think there is. And in a 2-on-1 situation, I'd definitely be down for that because nobody knows them and stuff. But I'm just saying that when it was 4 months straight of doing it, like there comes a point when you've done it so much that I'm just like, yeah, but you're not beating anybody whose name I know. So what does it really mean?
Yeah, it's like they forgot. It's like they took Goldberg and then forgot to pivot into actually beating names.
Yep.
But yeah, I just think that I'm at the point with the Division where they either need to scrap it or find something different to do with it. Especially if Seth's not going to be back and Braun's not going to be back. You get who's going to be the leader of the Division now? Like the only interesting thing you could do at this point is to have Jake Paul be the Masked Man. And at that point, I'm just going to want him to get knocked out on live TV again. Speaking of idiots,
I definitely think there's other interesting things that you could do with the Division. But I think that it does need a restructure.
Yeah, it just needs a fresh coat of paint, maybe a name change. That way you can kind of pivot away from it.
It also needs to establish an identity of its own. There's still no logo. There's still no T-shirt. There's still no real identity that pulls them together. It's not like they're all wearing the same colors when they come out or anything. It's
not like the Nexus or anything like that, where there's a unifying vision of the identity where they're all like, we're the new guys, we're here to destroy and take over, or
How ironic, no unifying vision.
Well, before we get into our next topic of the night, make sure you go to duelingguard.com, enter the code SOG15 for 15% off all your gaming merchandise needs. They have a sweet new Invincible line. I've seen a few people get it. Steve, the Dark Lord, friend of the podcast, got his Dark Magician Girl deck box. It looks sweet. Special shout out to Steve for supporting the pod. We really appreciate it, and special shout out to everybody here listening live and on the replays as well. And make sure you go to w.gg, enter the code SOG10 for 10% off all your energy drink needs. Fantastic products. They've got some new ones coming out. That's this rainbow sherbet one that looks really, really cool. Apparently supposed to taste like the old rainbow sherbet push pops that we had as a kid.
I was actually at a local card game tournament yesterday and saw that someone had the Goku one, the orange and blue one. I was like, hey, you have a Dueling Guard deck box. They're like, yes, I do. And I said, did you use the code SOG15 to get yourself 15% off when you bought them? They said, no. And I said, then you made a mistake.
It's true. They are high quality things. They are not cheap, but they are worth the investment.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I guess our next topic. Let's talk about the big boys mimicking each other on air. So there's been a lot of discourse about Gunther choking out Dragon Lee, Brody King then choking out MJF. Which, by the way, this is why I love AEW. The crowd is just so electric. The fuck ice chants, the referee giving them the time for that was beautiful. But people were complaining that they were ripping off WWE. I don't think you've actually watched Brody King's matches, especially when he faces littler guys than himself. He did the same thing with Darby Allin, where we were there for it at Blood and Guts when he did it.
Right. No. So the thing is it's not that it's a new spot. It's definitely a spot that's been done.
A million times.
Several times. I think the fact that it's being done by both shows within a week of each other, in a high profile program with both of them, I think that's really more like the thing that's grabbing people's attention.
Hey, wait a minute! I saw this here.
It'd be the same thing if you did a superplex into a ring breaking moment on both shows within a week of each other. You'd be like, wait a minute.
That's
now,
flashback.
That's not to say. I do definitely think that both shows watch each other, and if you watch, long enough, and Evan and I watch both of these left and right all the time, so it's almost like a weekly or bi-weekly conversation that we have where we'd notice, hey, this over here, this over here, this over here, this over here. It goes both ways. Both shows.
The same way that I'm pretty sure Obafemi watches our show, because didn't we call him an Obafeminist? That his fans were the Obafeminists like 2 weeks ago, and then he tweets about it. Just saying, not confirming, not denying, but yeah, and there are differences in this situation. Dragon Lee came out to defend the honor of his former tag team mate with AJ Styles, and then he got choked out for his trouble. With the MJF one, Hangman came out, distracted MJF, Brody King got him, and then it's slightly different. And I think MJF doing this for Brody King is actually a much bigger thing for Brody King. This doesn't do anything for Dragon Lee, in my opinion. That just helps Gunther. Mm-hmm. I think Brody King doing that to even he's distracted AEW World Heavyweight Champion, not only elevates Brody to where he could win the world title. We're probably the next pay-per-view for AEW. MJF's going to chicken shit heel his way out of it. This is all leading to Hangman and MJF going back at it again.
Oh yeah,
it elevates Brody.
Not winning the title.
If they hear me out, if it was me and I had the pen, he would win the title. But MJF would get it back in a nefarious way, like the next week.
Nah.
I think
I think I agree with you that he chicken shit heels his way out of it. I just don't think that.
Hear me out. So, you've got this red hot thing with Brody King. His the anti-ice merch with the crowd. If there's ever been an interesting moment to put a rocket, even if a small rocket, to Brody King to get him to that next level, do it now. It could be just like when Kane won the world championship from Austin in that first blood match. And then, it's kind of an inverse. And then MJF chicken shits his way the next week. And then it positions Brody to be a threat in the World Heavyweight Championship scene. He can go over to ROH and do the same thing. I think that you could do it. There's a justification. I don't necessarily think it'll happen, but I do think that there's a
See, I feel like this is a reverse of rules most weeks, where you say the really obvious thing that's going to happen on WWE, and then I say the thing that I'd like to see happen. And I think this is just the inverse of that. I'm just telling you what's going to happen, brother, and then you can dream all you want.
I'm trying to be a goal of mine in 2026. I don't know if people have noticed this. Try to be a little bit more positive, leaning into letting things happen, not just saying, "Oh, that's just the way it is," or I'm trying to focus on positivity and things like that. It's been a good mind shift change for me, and I think it's helped my mental health a lot. That's something that I think everybody can agree with. It everybody needs to work on. But yeah, I think honestly, I think it does a lot more for Brody. I do agree that both shows watch each other. I think there are nuances that not every fan are going to get, but I think calling both programs unoriginal for copying each other is also like the pot calling the kettle black, especially with the IWC. Like, guys, it's wrestling. It's the carny lifestyle. It's things are going to get repeated over time. We just happen to catch it in live. We happen to catch it live.
Wow. As far as things that happen to catch live, let's talk about our next topic tonight.
Oh yeah. I don't know. For those who don't know, first and foremost, a special shout out to the Seattle Seahawks on winning their second Super Bowl title. I know you're a huge fan of the Seahawks, Brian, having lived there for years. I didn't know he was wearing that. I want everybody to know that. I did not know that. I kind of was hoping he was wearing a shirt.
I knew we were going to talk about the Super Bowl.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. But yeah, a lot of people, there's a lot of thoughts and a lot of big feelings about the game itself, about the halftime show. First and foremost, that game, it was a good game. It was sluggish, it was slow, it was a grind for a while. That's the beauty of football. Sometimes you have games like that. Both teams are defensive powerhouses. Seattle just has a better offense. Congrats to them on their performance.
A ground war for the whole first half.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Michigan State Spartan MVP.
Yep. And then you still got some of those big plays, especially in the fourth quarter with good interceptions, good fumbles, good sacks. So it was an exciting game all around.
Yeah. I definitely think the Seattle defense, definitely fucked Drake May up a little bit on that. You could see he was seeing the ghosts.
I felt bad for him because honestly, I haven't heard so many negative things said about a quarterback since Romo. So there's
damn, that's like calling him Daniel Roberts.
Whoa, you're not wrong. But the other thing to really talk about, outside of the game was, of course, a halftime show that apparently a lot of people were upset about because they didn't understand the words. And so I went ahead and I wanted you guys to all know that the lyrics, I have them written out here and I've already memorized them, are actually ba witta ba, da bang, diggy diggy diggy, said the boogie, said up jump the boogie. That's what he was saying.
Oh, so you caught the hillbilly vanilla version.
I went and real talk. I watched the Bad Bunny one live because I'm not going to change the channel or look up something different just for halftime.
He's a fantastic performer.
But I was interested in knowing what the other side was talking about. So the next day, I did go on YouTube the same way we do with some of our wrestling stuff, and I looked it up. And so I don't know if you've seen the Kid Rock performance.
I unfortunately have.
It was a country song. Like, he sings a 5-minute country song. There is no American Badass. There's no Ba Wada Ba. There's no Cowboy. There's no Picture. There's no, like, any of the songs that he's known for. He didn't sing any of them.
Well, so from what I heard, that show was pre-recorded, and that there's some accusations of lip syncing. I'm not going to get into that because I don't really want to waste more Oxygen on Kid Rock.
Old Man Country. We
Yeah.
can't. I can't. Okay, I'm a 42-year-old man, and I'm telling you right now, I can't, in good conscience, call someone that's a decade older than me kid at this point. Like, I can't. I can't.
I mean, that's fair. So the Wild thing, and I actually listened to Bad Bunny. I know a little bit of Spanish, but it's all I've looked up a lot of his songs, the English lyrics to understand them, and then I just kind of vibe with it. He's a fantastic performer, fantastic actor. The show was beautiful, and I think there are a lot of people having big feelings about that because they expect their lily whitewashed Super Bowl experience to cater to them, and it's just not the reality we live in anymore, people. I posted it on social media. If you're out here bitching about that because the last 2 years you haven't seen yourself, well, now you know how African Americans and Hispanics have felt for decades in regards to the halftime show. And don't miss me with that bullshit. Oh, well, they had Shakira and J-Lo on there, and we've had the Rolling Stones, we've had country artists, we've had Coldplay, and yes, Shakira and J-Lo are on there. But a lot of what people have seen in the medium, in representation, which is what the key here is a whitewashed version of that, where it's like it's all in English. They don't get to experience their culture. And for me, watching this whole performance, it was a celebration of Puerto Rico, their history, their rich culture. And I am so fucking sick and tired of hearing people say, "Well, he's not American." Dude, what the fuck do you think the whole war with Spain was about? Puerto Rico, like they are an American colony. They are American citizens. Like, shut the fuck up.
I was laughing so hard. So there was a video, I shared it to you, that a friend of the pod, Brian Colding, put up, where he was expressing that he's seen a lot of people that were commenting about guys dancing with guys in that video, some gay dancing. And he brought up this really good point, and he makes the point. I'm not bringing this up as like a liberal. I'm not bringing this up as Did you see how many beautiful women were dancing there? I'm like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god.
Famous beautiful women.
To give you an idea, and this is like 100% true. Jessica Alba is, to me, like one of the hottest women on the face of the earth. I've had a celebrity crush on Jessica Alba for years, longer than I rightfully should. That being said, Jessica Alba was actually one of the dancers in that Super Bowl show. And she must have gone full Invisible Woman, because there were so many beautiful women, and I didn't even see her there. I didn't even realize it until it popped up on TikTok. And that being said, Pedro Pascal was also there. You had Mr. Fantastic and the Invisible Woman. How can you say this is anything but a fantastic show?
Yeah, Jessica Alba was a background dancer. Cardi B, Pedro Pascal, John Hamm was a backup dancer there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the whole point of everything, and honestly, my favorite part of the whole thing was watching Ricky Martin perform authentically as himself, especially as we've watched his struggles for years in the limelight. He broke onto the scene, and his hits were all in English, but like him being authentically himself, it was just beautiful to see. And I think us as Americans, if we really need to get out of our bubbles, experience more cultures, read about them, learn about them. I actually I started doing Duolingo like about a month and a half ago, just trying to learn more Spanish. I've been reading, beyond just U.S. history. U.S. history is a special interest of mine, outside of wrestling and gaming, and like learning about global politics and global, culture, Trying to learn as much as I can. And I think us as Americans, just as a generalized thing, need to do a lot more of that, and a little bit more reflection on why we feel like American exceptionalism needs to be a thing. We're all humans. We're all sharing this earth. We're all enjoying this beautiful experience of humanity. Let's just get out there and enjoy life.
The thing that I just have never understood about it is, like various cultures and various ethnicities, they all have this like spice of life. That's like a different flavor, and I've always enjoyed experiencing all those different, tasting all those different flavors,
Exactly.
both literally and metaphorically. Um,
Well, that's
and
that's the metaphor I used with the salad last night in my post. Is like we're not a melting pot, we're a salad.
I don't understand. Yeah, I really liked that metaphor actually. I don't understand why people are um so keen on the idea of getting rid of all the all the flavors but your own. I mean, when I go to a salad bar, right? I don't put everything on my plate. I pick out the things I like, but that doesn't mean I'm trying to get rid of all the things I don't. I
Yeah.
can just easily enjoy the things that I like. And here's the fun thing that I'm gonna say about the Super Bowl show. I'm not a Bad Bunny fan. I'm not. And that's not. I'm not downing on Bad Bunny when I say this. It's just not my thing. I enjoyed the performance uh, for the choreography. I enjoyed it for the cultural taste, and I enjoyed parts of the performance. But as an overall, it's not my cup of tea, and that's okay. It, it doesn't have to be.
Well,
It, but
yeah.
I don't have to sit here and down on it because it
Mhm.
wasn't my cup of tea.
Exactly, and I think that's lost on a lot of people. Is they feel this innate need to, well, everybody has to experience everything the same way I do, and only my way is right. No, that's not how life works. That's that's the logic of a petulant toddler that has always gotten their way, where mommy and daddy have silver spoon fed them everything they want, and they expect everybody to have the same lived experiences, and that's just not how life works. You and I have lived very different lives. We come from the same type of culture. Obviously it's slightly different. Um, you know, but our cultural experience is never going to be the same as someone as a person of color, where they've had to deal with the systemic racism, the systemic institutionalized things against them. Like, we don't always have to be in the driver's seat. We can just be in the passenger seat enjoying the vibe.
Hmm.
And I think there needs to be a little bit more of that and a little less listening to talking heads with their culture war bullshit.
Well, and I just think, as someone who's not a fan of Bad Bunny and who didn't necessarily enjoy like the song choices and everything, you know what I mean? If I can still look at it and say that I enjoyed the show overall, then I look at the rest of you and go, "What the fuck is your problem?" Because you're not looking at it objectively.
You're
You're
not.
looking for a reason to hate, and that's the difference. It's totally okay to go, I that's not my cup of tea. I prefer this other flavor. And there have been plenty of, you know, other alternatives to the halftime show for years. Shit, I remember one year WWE had The Rock face Mankind in a empty arena
Yeah.
match during halftime, and I tuned into that instead of watching the halftime show because that's my cup of tea. I'm not
Yeah.
getting down on other people for watching something else. I'm My issue with the Kid Rock thing was you put that there specifically out of hate, and then you tried to drive that out of hate. If you just wanted to all offer another alternative to be out there, then cool. But it didn't have to be watch this because fuck them.
That's
You
perfect
could just be
summation.
like, hey, we got another show we're putting on.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
And I don't think I would have had nearly as big of an issue with it myself. You know, we all know our leanings. We all know how I feel about that particular group that funded that. I just think that like the idealized version of Americans having civility for so long was what we were all taught, and I think we've gone so far to the other end of the pendulum when it comes to hate. And I guess to end this note, really listen to Benito Bad Bunny's message: "Love conquers hate." And let's
That's
just leave
right.
it at that.
The big message that's on the screen in English for you: love is always more powerful than hate.
Exactly.
I think we end the podcast on that.
I agree.
Better message to end the whole show on.
All right, guys. So that's going to do it for us. Make sure you go to SOG or go to duelingguard.com, enter the code SOG15 for 15% off all your gaming merchandise needs. And make sure you go to w.gg, enter the code SOG10 for 10% off all your energy drink needs. It's been a hell of a show. I like this freeform thing. We might do this more often.
Hubby.gg.
That's what I
You
said.
said duelingguard.gg. It's hubby.gg.
That I said w.gg. Whatever.
Either way, I've said it now. So go there. Get some energy.
All right. Well, we'll catch you guys later.
Good night, everybody.